You're listening to The Spooky Darlings, a podcast where three sisters get together and talk about anything that thrills them, excites them, and especially anything spooky. And today we continue our Cryptid Crawl with the state.
Who are you?
I'm Nettie. And who are you?
I'm Haley.
And who is she?
I'm Emily.
Get ready for this. We continue our Cryptid Crawl with the state of Massachusetts.
Nailed
And
it.
Nettie actually met somebody from Massachusetts, and they pronounced it Massachusetts. So if I have offended anybody by saying it was hilarious that Nettie was pronouncing it Massachusetts earlier, I apologize. I think the T should have a voice. But, you know, everybody gets to pronounce their state the way they want to.
You know what? Also, it could be that she was speaking really quickly and
Yeah, that's possible.
Some people pronounce Oregon Oregon, so it's none of our business.
Not if they're from Oregon.
No. No, for sure not.
For me, except for you.
Yeah, people are like the Oregon Trail, and I'm like, the what?
Oh, boy. Yeah, you know what? It's so funny because every time we tell people we're from Oregon, they're like, oh, I loved studying about the Oregon Trail. Oh, we played the Oregon Trail game, things like that. And it didn't occur to me as a kid that the Oregon Trail was such a big part of American history. I guess it's like I always felt like we studied it as Oregonians because we were from Oregon.
Well, when I was in college, my roommates, two of my roommates were from Texas, and they had a Texas flag shower curtain and Texas flag bath mat, all this Texas flag stuff. And I was like, and they even put up a giant Texas flag in our little living room. And I remember they were talking about how great Texas was. And I was one time just like, well, if it was so great, why did everybody pass it up on the Oregon Trail? Waka waka. I thought it was so funny. And they were offended.
Didn't one of them cry?
Yes, one of them cried and jokes on me because now I live in Texas.
Just like all my exes. Just kidding.
Yeah.
None of them do.
Yeah.
But there's
that song.
Your one potential ex, if you ever ditch that Brent kid, because he lived in Texas for a while.
Did he?
Nope.
I was like, do you know something about my husband? I don't know.
I think it was Florida. Excuse me.
He did live in Florida for a while. Yes. And Georgia.
Okay.
Valdosta. Okay. So, guys, Massachusetts cryptids. This one was fun.
I agree.
I'm loving our Cryptid Crawl.
Mm-hmm. It's fine.
And I think we decided beforehand. Oh, wait. Do we know what number this is without singing the song?
19?
I can tell you. We just did 19 on our Fefs, so this one would be...
I think this one's 20. I think 19 was last time.
20 was Maryland.
No, this is 21.
This is 21.
Perfect.
Yeah, Massachusetts, the 21st state in alphabetical order, not in order that they joined the Union. We want to make that clear. We don't do that.
Maybe next time around we'll do an Order of the Union. Cryptid Crawl.
We might do an order of like west to east or east to west.
No, probably not.
Like west to east. Listen, if we do looking at the map, aerial view, left to right, up to down.
That sounds so tricky.
You're right. We're not doing it again.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Emily, would you start us?
I'm going to tell you about a cryptid that I've been actually interested in for a while. We heard about this first when we were looking at Delaware, and Nettie was maybe going to do the Dover Demon and realized it was not from Delaware, so she had to change her approach, but I've been interested in it. So that's the one I'm doing today. I'll tell you about the Dover Demon. It was
I can't wait.
Spring break in 1977 in the very wealthy town of Dover, Massachusetts. It was a quiet town with actually a pretty small population, less than 5,000 people, but more horses than people in this little town. So it was like kind of, spread out. It's a suburb of Boston. It's like just...
sounds like my house.
Yeah,
just like Haley's house. True. More horses than people. So around 10:30 p.m. on April 21st of 1977, and this is spring break, 17-year-old William Bartlett was out on a drive in his 1971 VW Super Beetle, so his Volkswagen Super Beetle, with his friends Mike Mazzocca and Andy Brody. They were riding along with him. So they were on a back road called Farm Street. This is a quiet road with no street lights. And, so it's dark. It was a clear night. Only the moon was, really lighting the street, and as well as the car's kind of dim headlights. 1970s cars didn't have the brightest headlights. But they were rounding a curve in the road when William saw something about 10 feet away from him that would stick with him for the rest of his life. It was a strange creature standing on kind of like a rock wall, like a crumbling rock wall as he rounded that corner. It was about 3 to 4 feet tall and kind of human-like. It had long fingers that grasped the crumbling wall. It had peachy colored, hairless skin, and its body looked almost like that of a child with a distended belly, or even it was described as like a baby body.
Oh, dear.
Like a humanish baby body, but with a really skinny neck. Long, thin arms, spindly fingers, and an enormous head, like a huge watermelon-shaped head sitting on top of this very thin neck.
What?
And
I don't know how a tiny neck could support such a thing.
It doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense, does it? But it had large, glowing, orange, lidless eyes that were like glass.
I hate that.
Like glass marbles, almost like orange, glowing glass marbles. But it didn't have any other facial features. No mouth, no ears. It didn't have a tail. And, like just kind of a featureless face, hairless, no clothes. So like even at one point, so there were a few different descriptions that I came across in my different sources, but in one he said it looked kind of like peachy wet sandpaper. So he kind of freaked out. He was driving and he was like, "Did you see that?" to his friends. And they were like, "No." And he told them what he saw and they're like, "Dude, go back. We want to see it. Go back, go back, go back." And he's like, "Absolutely not." So he's freaked out. But finally, after driving about a mile, his friends convince him and they go back. And his friends are like, like yelling out the window, like, "Hey, come on out, creature. We want to see you." And William's like, "Guys, like, knock it off." Because William's pretty shaken by what he saw because it was weird,
Oh, my gosh.
So back at the scene, they don't see anything. They don't find any, they don't see the creature again. They don't find any evidence of the creature there. So they get back in the car and go back home. He dropped off his friends, and William's parents could tell that he was pretty shaken up. So they asked him what happened, and he told them, and they were kind of like, okay, like they didn't really like make any judgment. They believed him, but they were kind of like, all right, but, and then William, who is actually very artistic, known to have quite a photographic memory, and was already like involved in some artistic leagues and stuff like that. And, he actually went into his room and sketched what he saw. And on the sketch, and I have pictures of this. I can send them to you, and I'll share them on our socials.
Yes.
On the sketch, he wrote the words, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature." So there's always the question everybody always asks when somebody sees something weird like this, like, were they under the influence of anything? And the answer is that everybody in that car claimed that they had not been drinking or taking anything that night.
Okay.
So that same night, about an hour and a half later, so just after midnight, 15-year-old John Baxter. So these names are a little bit hard to keep track. We have William Bartlett, William or Bill Bartlett, and then we have John Baxter. So they're both B last names. So 15-year-old John Baxter was leaving his girlfriend Kathy Cronin's house to walk home. It was dark. He'd been walking for about 30 minutes. So maybe he'd gone, I don't know, a mile or something, or 2 miles. When he saw what at first he thought was his large-headed friend named M.G. Bouchard. So
wait, what? At first I thought it was MG because of the large head.
He did have, so I mean, I don't want to make light of this, but apparently M.G. Bouchard had a large head due to some sort of childhood condition. And he thought it was MG. So he's like, "Hey, MG, is that you?" Before realizing that it was not MG. So 15 to 25 feet. One account said 15, one account said 25. So somewhere in that range, like it's hard to gauge and guess.
I mean, that is the same distance to me right now. The door is both 15 and 25 feet from me.
You're a scientist and you are correct.
Yeah.
So he, 15 to 25 feet ahead of him, this strange creature halted. So John's like, hey, who is that? It's dark. There's no streetlights where he's walking. And he can just see this large-headed, shadowy form. It's kind of short, kind of a shorter, small. So he's like, maybe it's a child. So he takes a step forward, and the figure just darts off towards a ravine and, like, runs over to the other side of this ravine. So John is, like, thinking, maybe it's a kid. Like, does this kid need help? Because it was short, and he's like, he pursues.
Like it was definitely a baby.
He's got that baby-like body. He's like, he sees what he describes as a monkey-type creature, still with no tail, but with what he calls a figure 8-shaped head. And I have to assume that he's not talking about the negative space in the center of a figure 8.
Like a
but
peanut.
It was like, kind of, like a bulbous or like a constricted oval is what
there were
I think.
Different ways to describe that.
Yeah. So anyway, he said that the feet were kind of molded around the rocky terrain that it was standing on, and it had spindly fingers wrapped around a tree. So they stared at each other for a moment.
Okay.
Before John, suddenly felt fear set in. He realized what he was looking at was not human, and fear set in. So he quickly as he could, made his way back to the street, and not long after, a car passing by with a couple inside picked him up. He hitched a ride with them, and they dropped him off at home, which don't hitchhike, kids. Not a safe thing, but
no,
people were doing that in the 70s. When he got home, he also immediately made a drawing of what he saw, which I will also share with you.
2 different people?
Yes.
Yeah. How similar are they? I can't wait to see it. You can tell me later.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You get excited. Okay. So I
am so excited.
Where William Bartlett, the first witness, had come home and was pretty dazed, and aside from his friends that were there with him, he only really told his parents. John Baxter got up the next morning and he had his drawing, and he was telling everybody that would listen. So he's talking a lot about this, including his friend named Will Tainter.
Huh?
Yes. Yes, Will Tainter. So the news of John Baxter's encounter didn't reach William Bartlett until 5 days later, on April 26th. These two had not heard about each other's encounters and had not compared encounters, but Will Tainter heard from John Baxter. And then that next night, so this is the next morning is when, so April 22nd, it's the day after, that's when Will Tainter hears about it. Will and his girlfriend, who's 15-year-old Abby Brabham, they were riding in a car late at night, around midnight. And it's not clear in any of the accounts that I found if Abby had heard about. I assume she had, because it's spring break. All these kids are bored. If somebody has news, everybody's going to hear the news in these little towns. That's just kind of the way it goes. I assume that Abby had heard about it, but it's not verified that Abby had heard about it. But they're driving, and Abby saw a bizarre creature sitting on the side of the road. She screamed. Will slammed on the brakes, and the creature scurried off into the woods. Will said that he kind of maybe saw something, but didn't get a good look at it. Some accounts said that he didn't see it. He didn't seem as certain. But Abby was sure that she saw it, and her description of the creature was nearly identical to William Bartlett and John Baxter's descriptions. She said it looked kind of monkey-like, thin, with an enormous oblong head. She described tan, sandpapery skin, and possibly that it was the size of a goat, except she insisted on this. The others said orange glowing eyes, and she said it had green glowing eyes. She even said they were green. I don't care what the boys said. Like, she would not budge on the fact that they were green eyes.
But they're all standing by the peachy color, and it's like
she
skin.
said tan. They're all hairless.
Tan, peachy.
And who knows what the lighting does or whatever. But she also went home and drew what she saw that night. And
do you have that too?
Yes, I do. I will show you all three. And she is decidedly the least artistic of the three artists.
Is it anything like what I just drew while you described it?
It is no, actually. Yours looks more like the first two better draw artists. Yours is really good, Nitty. Let's take a picture of that for our socials, too.
Okay. Yes. I didn't have the feet description when I started drawing this yet, but now I know they wrap around rocks, so that's so.
So in just under 24, or just around 24 hours, there were 3 separate sightings of, pretty much the same thing. And if you plot the locations on a map, they make a straight line spanning about 2 miles.
Oh, so it was traveling.
All near sources of water.
Wow.
So the thing was sometimes bipedal, sometimes on all fours. But, it was consistent. The large head, the spindly arms, like...
Naked, though, right?
No clothing. And there were no reports of UFO activity around the area at this time. So that was a question that was often, brought up.
No one saw a bathtub flying through the air?
Right. But all 3 of them drew what they saw, without having seen anybody else's drawings, so it's...
Right.
And they're eerily similar. So, interestingly, Dover is literally right next to Needham, Massachusetts. It's like a 9-minute car drive if you plot it on Google Maps. And guess who was living in Needham at the time?
Who?
Loren Coleman, the famous cryptozoologist. So, okay.
We knew because we are also budding cryptozoologists. So, of course, we knew who Loren Coleman was.
Well, it just so happens immediately. That this is like the third cryptid that I've shared that has Loren Coleman, inserted into the investigation, I guess. So, he was living nearby at the time. He was involved in the Enfield horror case, in the Hopkinsville case, and I think we talked about him too in the Sinkhole Sam episode. We've brought him up multiple times.
I think that I've mentioned him in at least one as well.
So he's like the guy in cryptozoology. He has that museum up in Maine now, but so he's very well known. So anyway, he caught wind of these stories, and within a couple of days of the sightings, he had started his own investigation, and he included a couple other guys like ufologists. Did you say UFOologist or ufologist?
I say ufologist personally, but I don't know.
Yeah, he collected a little ufologist. Ufologist. I like both of them. I'm going to just say them all and act like I don't know because I don't. So
I like Haley's. Now I'm going to say ufologist from now on. Yeah.
So he assembled a little team, and they just came in and did their own investigation. I guess he was at a little kind of country store, and he heard about it and was like, oh, I want to hear this and I want to see these drawings. And he kind of went from there and interviewed everybody that he could. So he wrote a book later about it called Mysterious America. And then he also wrote another, it wasn't just about this. It's about lots of things. So in his book, Mysterious America, and in his book, Monsters of Massachusetts, he talks about what he found in Dover about this creature. And also he quotes himself and credits himself in these books with coming up with the name, the Dover Demon.
That's he even quite says, the strategy.
Here is a quote. I, not the newspapers, as has been recorded by some, dubbed the thing the Dover Demon. That was his quote. I just thought it was funny. He's like, it's not.
I wish he'd have been more like, I doth dub the Dover Demon.
No, I
want him to go to quote the famed cryptozoologist myself.
Oh, yeah. So no, he did he quoted himself in newspaper articles in his books. I just found it a little bit funny. I'll show you a picture of him, and he's going to be great. Exactly what you think. It's like a white.
to be Loren Coleman.
Like a white bearded Ron Burgundy type or something.
Also with a tan safari vest.
No, but he would.
Damn it.
That would suit him well.
Lauren, we're fans.
We are fans. So let's
Can
make
I send
that clear.
you a tan safari vest?
That he would get confused with the guy from Jurassic Park too much, I think, if he wore the tan safari vest. He has that look and a twinkle in his eye. I will share pictures of him because they're too good to
Santa.
not share.
Okay.
So, that name, though, Dover Demon, stuck, and it's been going for almost 50 years, right? So we're 2026 now. Mm-hmm. This was spring. It was literally 49 years ago that this all happened.
Wow. So, I mean, alliteration, right? Alliteration, the double Ds.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's why everybody loves a double D. Okay.
Everyone.
So Coleman says that this area was possibly a hotbed of unexplained activity. He said that some areas kind of, like some areas in the world are kind of like almost a magnetic for certain types of unexplainable activity. It could be something about the nearby wooded area, or it could be, so there's a place called the Polka Stone, and it's spelled Polka.
Like the dance.
Yes.
Music.
Yes, it is spelled like the dance. So the Polka Stone is nearby. He thinks that it could be like a magic Celtic fairy rock or something. In his book, Monsters of Massachusetts, he pointed out that Farm Street, which is where the first sighting occurred, has had a history of strange occurrences since the 1600s, which he referenced the 1914 book. What?
I feel the need to write all this down. Like, I want to go there. So that's why I'm like, what? I need a pencil. Farm Street?
Well, yes, Farm Street.
Listen, you take a left.
There's going to be a record of this. We can, you can listen back.
That's true. I'll calm down. So, Farm Street, Massachusetts.
There's a book called Dover Farms that was written by a man named Frank Smith in the book the book was written in 1914. So it's a pretty old book, but he wrote about like old time Dover area. And apparently there was a pretty startling encounter where a farmer named George Battelle was riding near Polka Rock, and he claimed to have seen His Satanic Majesty as he rode by on horseback. What? That is the quote from the book. He claimed to see...
devil.
Yes. So it was also claimed that the area was the site of unclaimed buried treasure. So whatever. But I obviously want to find out more about this Satan sighting. I'm like, was he red? Did he have horns? Like,
how did you know it was Satan? Was he handsome?
Yes. Well, he calls him His Satanic Majesty, which, by the way, why are we calling him that? Like, it makes me so confused.
That's weird.
So I'm like,
I'd be like, the evil one himself.
Or was it Anton LaVey? Let's get really clear, you guys.
When you see His Satanic Majesty on horseback, are you on horseback or is Satanic Majesty on horseback? Like, which one of you is on horseback? Are you both on horseback? I was so confused. So listen, I tried to Google, obviously Dover, His Satanic Majesty, horseback, blah, blah, blah. Polka Rock, even. I added in Polka Rock. And guess what? Unfortunately for my query, there's a Rolling Stones album called Their Satanic Majesty's Request, which makes it very difficult to find anything about the claimed sighting. In fact, I searched Polka Rock, His Satanic Majesty, and the search result is like, sorry, that is not polka rock. That is actually psychedelic rock. The 1967 foray from the Rolling Stones.
My gosh.
They did it on purpose.
Frustrating.
They did it on purpose.
They maybe did. So I'm like, Dadoy, I know...
Those Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones are not polka guys. Like, I'm aware.
Or Mick Jagger, or as we also like to call him, our Satanic Majesty.
Was it Mick Jagger? You said this was the 70s.
No, the sighting was like in the 1600s. The Satan sighting? It was in the 1600s or 1700s. Okay, it was early on in the settlement.
Early in the Americas.
So anyway... I mean, Lauren Coleman supposes that possibly polka, Polka, is a, like, misspelling and whatever, like a derivation of puka, which is an ancient Celtic word. And there are a lot of different similar words all throughout, like, Europe and Northern Europe that have that similar sound, puka and, like, puck from Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's basically to do with goblins of the night or like Celtic fairy folklore. Yes.
Puckwudgies.
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
Yes.
Polka music, puckwudgies.
Yes. A lot of
I love it.
Things to think about. And then in addition, so that could have come over from, European Old World. Also, though, the Cree Indians of Eastern Canada had a legend about little people called the Managishi. And guess what they had? Round heads, no noses, long spidery arms, hands with 6 fingers, and they live between rocks in the rapids of rivers and are known to play pranks on travelers. Also, as referenced by...
I just had to add 2 fingers to each hand of my demon.
Oh, yeah. I'm really glad you're drawing your demon as we go. As referenced by... I'm so excited to see you compare yours to the 3 witnesses because I think you're going to be spot on. So Lauren Coleman also referenced that a man in 2000 named Mark Hall wrote an essay where he thought that probably the Dover demon was a pygmy merbeing. And this essay, if you want to look it up, I didn't read it. I just saw the reference. Is called A Primer on Mermaids by Mark A. Hall. Yeah, add it to your list.
You love mermaids.
I'm adding it right under Farm Street, Massachusetts.
Perfect.
Under your directions.
So after poking around, Lauren Coleman also found that there had been a couple other strange occurrences around the Dover area. A possible demon creature was seen in 1972 near Channing Pond on Springdale Avenue. So, basically, like, weird stuff has happened before in this area. 3 people saw the same thing, but it really hasn't been seen since, except... Okay, well, here, let me just say this. Okay, so Lauren Coleman believes the 3 witnesses. He thinks that if they were colluding to make a hoax, that they would have gotten their stories straight on the color of the eyes, and they would have, you know what I mean? Like, the little discrepancies would have been ironed out.
Why?
Yeah.
Why those 3?
Right, and to what end, right? So,
to what end?
Yeah, so police investigated after the kids made their reports, didn't find any evidence of the creature or anything out of the ordinary. The police... so a police officer at the time who was later a police chief, I don't know if he was the police chief at the time, but his name was Carl Sheridan. He was like, I knew the kids involved. They were good kids, reliable kids. Their teachers and their principals also vouched for them. Like, they weren't like troublemaker type kids.
They weren't the kind of kids that were known to make up stories. They're like, no, if these guys said it.
Yeah, and they weren't known to be like super into drugs or alcohol or the type to make it up. So, while there were no other sightings that anybody could claim with confidence, William Bartlett did say that about a year later, he was parked in a car with his girlfriend at the time, and they heard a loud thud on the car, and he looked back to see a small creature scurrying away, but he couldn't say with confidence that it was the same thing.
Oh boy.
He couldn't make out the features. He wondered. He wondered if it was the same thing or if it was somebody messing around.
Did all of them get that feeling of fear, or just one of them?
Well, William did. Remember, the first one, he didn't want to go back. He was scared.
Right.
And then John didn't get the feeling of fear at first until he got a good look at it and realized it wasn't a kid that he was trying to help. It was something not human. And that's when he felt the fear and he scurried back to the road. And yes, Abby screamed and was afraid.
Okay. Because I don't know. It's like when you physically describe it, it doesn't seem, demon seems like the wrong word. It doesn't seem, and maybe it's because demon to me, maybe I'm making demons scary and maybe they're not supposed to be scary, but it almost seems like a lost little golem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it didn't seem malicious. Honestly, did
it have a ring?
There is that like uncanny valley thing, right? Like where if something seems a little bit humanish but isn't quite right, it does kind of make our tummy flip. Like it makes us feel scared. And that could be it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily speak to whether the thing was intending to harm anybody. So William Bartlett, who was the original first witness, went on to become actually a successful professional artist. He's like a fine arts painter. But funny enough, his painting, like he's successful and his paintings sell all across the United States, but he is most famous for that sketch that he made the night of the sighting of the Dover demon.
Whoa. I'm so curious to see his other artwork.
Yeah, I actually couldn't find it. I mean, I didn't find it. I could have probably looked harder. So even though he finds
with magic fingers,
it's you.
It's you.
So even though he finds it embarrassing, he didn't ever back down on what he saw. And in a 2006 article from the Boston Globe, he said, "I didn't make it up. Sometimes I wish I had. I don't usually tell anybody. I shouldn't be embarrassed, but you see these people on TV and they're made to look like idiots. He's like, I really do wish that I made it up. I might have profited from it. It's a great story.
Wow. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the theories real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that it was probably just a baby moose. And ufologist Martin Kottmeyer wrote an article basically saying that it was a baby moose. He thought that the spindly fingers that everybody described were probably just vines stuck on the moose hooves, which I don't buy, actually. I think...
No, that doesn't make sense to me.
Also,
it's weird.
The timing doesn't work out. Mooses are usually born in late April to early May. It would
Emily,
be too... Yeah?
I'm going to stop you there. Mises, please.
Yes. Those plural moose are...
I'm so sorry.
So at the time of year that they were at, a moose would either not have been born yet or would have been a year old and it would have been over 500 pounds. So it just wouldn't have fit.
And no longer pink.
Right. Yeah. So it just doesn't quite make sense.
They're even pink.
Also, Massachusetts is not known for having moose in their area. There were only 2 reported moose in the entire state that year. And they were both documented. Also,
no one said that it had antlers. Also,
well, I think the antlers maybe come later. But
listen, baby moose don't have antlers, guys.
So they don't?
The drawings made by William Bartlett and John Baxter and Abby Brabham do very much resemble Tyrone, the moose from the hit cartoon The Backyardigans.
Are you about to show us?
I mean, I can. Do you guys not remember when Tyrone? You need a picture
know.
of
I
Tyrone?
want to see the drawings. I know what Tyrone looks like.
Yeah.
She's waiting for the drawings.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I had them ready to go. I'm going to send them all to you right now.
Perfect.
I've been on pins and needles. I've had to draw my own.
She had to do it herself.
Oh my gosh.
Look at how I took care of it.
Okay,
No
here you
clothes.
go. I am sending them all to you now. Okay. We've got...
Guys, these will be on our socials.
Okay, so we've got Will's first. I think, assuming they came in the right order.
Yes. Okay, so starfish type fingers.
They look almost froggish, huh?
This reminds me of Salad Fingers.
Okay,
Do you guys
but listen.
remember that internet cartoon, Salad Fingers?
Yes, weird.
Where he's like, I like to touch the rusty nails.
I don't think
I do remember seeing that. It's very odd. Okay.
So when you say feet wrapped around rocks and I see this picture, I get a completely different picture than what I pictured.
What did you draw? Show me what you drew.
Well, I mean, it's not even quite what I pictured.
Okay. All right. That's going on the socials too.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay. So it also looks a tiny bit like Arthur from Hey Arthur, the anteater. Don't you think that Tyrone and Arthur both look a little bit like?
Yeah. Now I wonder what a baby anteater would look like, and would there be any in the area?
Anyway, I'm just dismissing the moose theory, and so did Lauren Coleman. He said, quote, to have a bipedal moose with long fingers and orange skin and no hair and no nose would be more of a phenomenon than the Dover demon. That's what he said. Okay, another theory that is often put forth is that it was a baby horse. And similar to the moose theory, I don't think it's likely. Also, in a town with more horses than humans, everybody would know what the horses looked like. Nobody's going to think a horse is anything else other than a horse.
And also, horses' necks aren't spindly.
Yeah, you're right. Another theory is that it was an owl because of the glowing or reflective eyes, and that the claws could have been like its wings spanned out in jazz hand style.
Clutching a tree.
It's going, just check.
The thin arms and stuff don't quite line up, but everybody kind of automatically is blaming owls for a lot of cryptid sightings. So we gotta at least acknowledge that is present.
Give the owls a break. All right,
they're doing
not all owls are cryptids.
Not all owls.
Not all owls are cryptids.
Okay, there was also the theory that it was a hoax. I mean, honestly, the kids... So Will knew John, but... Not Will. So Will Trainter knew John. William and John... I mean, they all kind of probably knew who each other were, but they weren't buddies,
But
right.
you said kind of smallish town,
Yeah,
right?
it was a smallish town. So, I mean, the idea that it was a hoax... it's possible, but
and who's benefiting from this hoax? It sounds like no one.
Yeah, it does sound like no one.
And to hold on to the story for that long.
Yeah. So another thing that has been put forth is that possibly the space craze of 1977. I mean, so this one guy was like, his name is Ben Radford. He was like, Star Wars came out that year. Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out that year. There's the space craze. Kids were probably just like looking for any evidence of aliens. Right. To which I'm like, Ben Marie Bradford, do you even look at the dates? Because Star Wars wasn't released until May 25th, 1977, a full month after this spring break encounter. And guess what? Close Encounters didn't come out until November 16th, 1977. These cannot be influencing.
You know what he wasn't counting on, Emily?
Google.
You.
And me and Google.
And you coming with the facts.
So, anyway, also some people think it could be an alien. While there were no reported UFO activities in the area, it could possibly have been a stranded alien. We already talked about the merman theory or the little people theory, a couple other things.
I like the merman or the little people, although it didn't have fused legs.
Some people also do think, though, that still it was probably just drugs or drinking or a combination. One Reddit user named AAZAV, Azav, in a post on cryptozoology, said that he lived in Dover in 1977 when it happened. He didn't see it. He said the kids who did see it didn't know that the others had seen it till after. But he said in 1977, there was some strong acid going around the high school, according to the people I asked, and their firm suspicion was kids were driving around and tripping balls or dropping acid and walking home.
Yeah, wow. But it sounded like not these kids, according to the teachers.
Yeah, and he also was like, maybe somebody spray painted a dog and it ran through the swamp. And like these tripping high schoolers saw
But they all saw those
same
feet.
Thing.
Like, if you look at the drawing, even the last girl's... Well, I guess I don't see her feet. She took the easy way out. She's like, oops, bottom of the page. I don't have room for the feet. But when they said, both of them said feet wrap around rocks, I would say the long toes wrap around the rocks is more what it seems like.
Yeah.
Because this is an example of feet wrapping around rocks.
You're right.
Yes.
So anyway, that's all I have for the Dover Demon. What do you guys think?
Wow, that was completely different than what I thought it was going to be.
Right, I know, like Dover Demon. I know Lauren Coleman is super proud of himself for coming up with that, and it did stick, but like that's not how I would have described that creature. I would have called it like, I don't know.
Not demon.
The Dover baby, I don't know.
Dover baby buddy.
The Dover baby buddy. I like the Dover baby buddy.
Oh my gosh, like from the Righteous Gemstones, Baby Billy's Bible bumpers. Bible bumpers.
Well, from heretofore, we three budding cryptozoologists, and to quote ourselves...
Budding.
We're naming it the Dover baby body, but we're going to work on it.
We'll work on that. We'll come back to it.
Okay. All right.
It is interesting, though, how much those first two drawings are like, and none of them are watermelon. All of them have like the concaved oval.
I think you're the right. Last girl. I feel like the size was maybe more where the watermelon part came into play.
Yeah, and I could see watermelon shape a little, like.
Yeah.
But I guess I would describe, like, if I were to say that shape, I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. Anyway, I loved learning about that one. Let's hear what you got, Haley.
I can't even think of what that thing would be in real life, like.
Obviously, a cute little cryptid who didn't deserve the word demon.
No.
He probably just needs a blanket. He doesn't have fur.
Yeah.
Massachusetts is cold, you guys.
It gets cold.
It sure can.
Well, I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Me too.
Yeah. So, okay. Speaking of strange places with strange things, So I know I initially was like, I'm going to do the Rippopotamus. If I don't write it down, I can't be relied on to remember that that's what I said I was going to do.
You can't go back in our sister chat and search it several times like me?
Are you kidding me with how much we text? No way.
There's a search feature where you put it in the search line and it finds it for you.
What am I, a phone expert?
No, you're not.
I didn't even think about it. Okay.
Okay.
Haley, I'm not sad at all, other than I was really hoping that you would have a rap for us that would start with, I'm the rip-rap-hippopotamus.
My hip-hop is bottomless.
That's the only disappointment. But
well, I apologize.
I'm excited to hear what you're doing.
Wish I had remembered, but instead I very quickly researched Bridgewater Triangle.
Perfect.
Of Massachusetts. So, no, it's not a cryptid, but it is full of cryptids.
It's cryptid adjacent.
So, it is a 200 square mile area in southeastern Massachusetts. And it's described as a place where it feels thin. And by that, it's where like UFOs, strange creatures, glowing orbs are often seen. And it is one of
like the veil is thin, you mean? Like the
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Gotcha.
So that is a much better way to put it, Emily. Thank you for that. So it's one of the most paranormal active spots or considered by some in the US. So hauntings, curses, you name it, it's here. And the triangle part comes from being Freetown, Abington, and Rehoboth. I'm probably saying that wrong. People from Massachusetts, let me know. Rehoboth. Rehoboth?
Do you want me to look up the pronunciation real quick?
If you want to.
Let it go. I'll look it up real quick if you don't mind.
Let's go on this journey together, you know?
Okay. Would you spell it for me one more time?
Rehoboth. And Emily, guess who coined the name?
Was it Lauren Coleman?
It was Lauren Coleman.
Oh, he's got his fingers in all the cryptid ties.
This guy. And so,
Rehoboth.
Rehoboth?
Rehoboth.
Okay.
Here, let's listen to it. Oh, whoops, hold on. There's a commercial.
Yes. Bump that music, Nettie.
Carry on. Oh, wait, no, wait.
Oh, I thought we were doing this.
We are. Oh, gosh, everyone's calling me. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So where were we before?
All right. Well, so the Bridgewater Triangle is compared to Skinwalker Ranch for those who know about Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. And the sightings that are reported to come out of Bridgewater Triangle are Thunderbirds, Mothman, Bigfoot, UFOs. So it's like all of the big ones. And then, of course...
Is Emily's town the one where the Dover Demon, was that inside the Bridgewater Triangle? I wonder.
Emily, what was the name of your town?
Dover.
Maybe it's in the triangle because the towns are, let me find them again, Abington, Rehoboth, and Freetown. And it's in the Freetown Fall River State Forest is also where the Bridgewater Triangle is located.
Looking at how to pronounce this name. This is a biblical name, and we'll be looking at how to say more biblical names too. It's also the name of a city in Delaware, United States. Rehoboth.
Rehoboth.
Is how it's said.
Rehoboth.
The city and the biblical name. Rehoboth.
Sorry, won't turn off. Sorry. Okay. I forgot that that's what I was doing when I got the call from Nellie. It was up close.
Wait, hey, we all forgot, you know?
Yes.
And this is why the cryptid episodes are so relaxed. So,
they're bonus.
Some of this, like, crazy activity that is paranormal, alien, and cryptid all combined here is because the area is considered to be spiritually significant to native tribes and possible legends of it being cursed or a sacred land. And so we've heard that over and over again in these stories. And so, of course, in the colonial era of the United States, white people were taking lands from the native tribes, and it is thought that maybe this could be part of a curse, or because it is sacred land to native tribes, that could be why there is so much activity. So there's a lot of fear and superstition also linked to this area. There also seems to be a lot of occult activity in the forest, a lot of like rituals thought to be seen out there, people finding symbols, evidence of gatherings. And I mean, which is here nor there, really. I feel like sometimes people just like to go and hang out in the woods.
Yeah. Sometimes witches like to go hang out in the woods and do rituals.
Yeah, and dance around a fire. Sometimes
in
you're
Salem.
nude.
I mean, in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, you know.
In Salem.
So this also seems to be a location where there's a lot of fault lines, and fault lines can seem to like bring a lot of energy to those places. So maybe that's something. And then it's a very dense wooded area, which also can like, it has like a lot of mystery. And when you're out there and you're alone and maybe you're seeing things. So there's not a single explanation for this, but I thought it was kind of fun that it kind of like can house like all of the topics that we love to talk about. So this is the Bridgewater Triangle, which has a lot of mystery connected to it, along with cryptids.
Love it.
Done. I'm done.
That was interesting. I've heard of the Bridgewater Triangle.
Yeah.
I've been fascinated to know what it was. I actually have thought that it would be super fun to do like a 3D episode where we all talk about like different like spooky areas.
Ooh, I mean, yeah.
And I mean, that might be something fun to like do a deep dive into.
Deeper dive into the Bridgewater, and somebody can do the Bermuda,
3D. And someone can do the, Dorito.
Yeah.
Triangle. Get it?
Perfect. Yes, I loved it.
Yeah, it's the shape of a chip, right? I got it.
And I'm done. Nettie, I pass the baton to you. The triangle-shaped baton.
Thank you. If anyone wants to draw what I describe as I describe it, I would not discourage you at all. Okay. The cryptid I'm about to tell you about. Here are my notes. So, the cryptid I'm about to tell you about has many different names. The Black Phantom, the Phantom Fiend, the Provincetown Phantom. Lots of phantoms here, which is kind of funny because I was like, why do they keep saying phantom? And if you look up the definition of phantom, it means like a spectral, like not quite, like otherworldly, like not physically there, not tangible. But this thing is actually, by all reports, tangible. The Provincetown Phantom, the Devil of the Dunes. This one, my favorite, the Blot. Actually, what it ended up being called most commonly is my favorite. The best and most prolific name, or most common name, is called the Black Flash.
Ooh.
And what is it? Is it a phantom?
Yes.
Human?
Yes.
Is it a supervillain?
Yeah.
Maybe. Is it a cryptid? I think it falls under cryptid.
Yes.
So the first recorded sighting of the Black Phantom happened in October of 1938. And there was a group of school children who were playing in the sand dunes, and this is in Provincetown, Massachusetts. And they came home shaking and trembling and crying to their parents because they all had the same story. They saw something terrifying, something big, around 8 feet tall, like way taller than your average human.
Whoa.
But it was shaped like a human. It was dressed all in black. And it was lurking in the sand dunes, and it growled at them. And then it seemed to vanish into nowhere. The kids couldn't see it anymore. So, do you think the children were believed by their parents?
No.
The answer is no. They all went home and told like the same story to all of their parents, and all the parents were like, no. The parents kind of collectively thought that it was the children's imagination or that it was a story that the kids conjured up. Maybe they were home late and they were like, but here's why. We saw, a creature. Or maybe it was an exaggeration of something very normal that they saw that was a little bit scary that they turned into a bigger story. So this was around October 1938. No one believed the kids. Then 1 year later, again in October 1939, a grown woman reported the same thing. Her name was Maria Costa, and she reported seeing something that sounded familiar because as she was walking alone near Provincetown Hall, the city hall, something leapt out of the bushes directly in front of her. She described it as an enormous humanoid creature, 8 feet tall, cloaked in black, with glowing blue eyes. Now, the children did not report the glowing blue eyes, at least from what I could see. And it also had strange silver ears. It jumped in front of her and just stood still, staring at her. She stood and was frozen in fear. And then suddenly, it leapt into the air and it bounded away from her with inhumanly high leaps until it was out of sight.
This sounds like Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh my gosh, Haley, that's what so many people say, that it sounds almost exactly like Spring-Heeled Jack.
Yes!
Good job.
Thank you.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later at the end.
Perfect.
So Maria ran screaming into a nearby coffee shop where there was a group of men that were gathered. And so they're hearing this woman in distress saying that she saw something terrifying. They all go out and they chased after it, but they found nothing. She pointed the direction that it went. They all were in pursuit. They found nothing. And the police doubted her story. They dismissed it as a hoax until more reports came in, this time from men. Unfortunately, I'm not lying.
Jeez, of course.
Tradespeople,
Don't
fishermen,
believe the children. Don't believe the women.
Don't believe the hysterical woman.
Oh, but a man.
Upstanding members of the community, reports started pouring in. Even members of the police force reported seeing this tall, black-cloaked, humanoid creature. There was a farmer named Charles Farley who claimed that he saw the entity lurking on his property. So he did what any farmer would do, and he went and grabbed his shotgun. He fired at the creature, and what they, we're now calling the Black Flash, laughed maniacally and cleared an 8-foot fence in a single bound and seemingly unharmed, like did not react to the bullet, and escaped into the night.
Oh, my God.
And Charles Farley said that the creature seemed amused at being shot at. Amused. Then, other people described.
I just have to say, a lot of this, at first I was like, are we sure it's not 2 children in a black trench coat? Of course.
Why don't you wait for the theories?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to zip it and wait.
Could be. It could be that it was.
I want to know more about his silver ears, but I'll also wait.
That's another theory that comes in at the end, the silver ears. But there is a lot of people think that it was actually 4 teenagers that did a hoax together and all worked together. But multiple people reported it leaping over 10-foot fences in one bound in 1939.
The athleticism.
Yeah, it's so tall. So
yeah.
Who knows? All right, so this is how it was described. There were so many reports at this time. This was 1939, 1940. Tall, around 8 feet. Gaunt frame. They said unnaturally gaunt frame. Dressed in a black cloak.
Vampire.
Long hooded cloak or cape, dressed all in black. Face completely black, except for pointed silver ears. Eyes glowing blue, as if lit from within. So it had a light in its eyes. I don't know why I said her.
Is it?
It is a her.
It could be.
It moved inhumanly fast and with impossible agility. And here's another tricky thing. The police noticed that it would be seen in different parts of town almost simultaneously. So they would get a report that it was seen like in the southern part of Provincetown and then in the northern part of Provincetown almost at the same time. So some people thought, is it teleporting? Does it move that fast?
Does it?
Can it appear in one place? Or
is there more than one?
Or are there more than one? It also made a buzzing sound like an insect.
Oh.
And it was loud. If children reported it growling. Most other people reported it maniacally, laughing. And also some reported that it breathed blue flames.
What?
Spring Hill Jack!
Exactly like Spring Hill Jack. Like so much so, except for 60, 70 years later, wasn't Spring Hill Jack in the late 19th century?
I don't remember the dates.
Because it was during Queen Victoria. It was in the Victorian era.
Yes.
It jumped into Queen Victoria's palace.
Oh my God, yes.
But very similar, would jump out of the bushes, just terrify people, jump in front of them and be like, "Wah," ooga booga. And then a loud maniacal cackle while it bounded away into the darkness, leaping super high.
But it also made an insect noise?
Yeah, like a buzzing insect noise, but then also a maniacal laughter and silver pointed ears.
Crazy.
There were 2 men that were physically hurt. So it basically didn't touch anybody, but 2 men were physically hurt by the Black Flash. The first man encountered the Black Flash and tried to punch it. The Black Flash caught his fist mid-swing and then crushed his hands, breaking bones in his hand.
Oh, no.
And then threw him to the ground. The second man, who had been a skeptic up until this point, he said he thought it was teenagers pranking. He thought, that it was just some kind of hoax. He walked up to it when it jumped out in front of him and he said, "Get out of my way." And the Black Flash slapped him across the face so hard that his feet came off the ground. And he fell, landed on the ground. And after that, he was no longer a skeptic. He was a total believer that this was a not human entity of some sort. So.
Wow.
No.
Oh my gosh, Nettie, this might be the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, it was so fun when I found it. And I first found it on this blog called Preston Posits, or Posits. And he's doing, or she, I don't know, Preston, probably he, is doing cryptids, I think in the order of states as they came into the Union.
Ooh.
And does a blog on them. And so I found information on my Maryland cryptid also from his blog. Okay, so.
Wasn't that the blog that I sent you guys the whole list of cryptids about? Wasn't that Preston
Yes,
Posits?
and this is where I found the Black Flash. Yeah, didn't you do that for the Maryland cryptids? Did you do it for Massachusetts as well?
No, it was for Maryland that I sent you guys the...
Yes, and he has one for Massachusetts as well.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Did you hear that nice crisp tea that came out that time I said Massachusetts?
I'm really proud of you.
So there's a newspaper called the Provincetown or Provincetown Advocate, and it ran a front page story on October 26th of 1939 with the headline, "Fall brings out the Black Flash." Even the local paper, and this paper was skeptical, it acknowledged that there were tons of sightings, that the town was in an uproar, that children didn't want to go out trick-or-treating. They were afraid to walk the streets. There was another newspaper, or it might have been the same newspaper, but a different article that said, "Hard winter certain as cabin fever stories start." And then I'll just read it to you because it's just kind of funny. Joe Berger, and then in parentheses, Jeremiah Diggs to you, says it's Bowling Bill, the seagoing cowboy, back from a date with the sea witch of Gloucester. Howard Slade ain't made up his mind, but he knows it ain't Benny regular. Ma Hunt said if a man grabbed her, she would hold on. Chief Tony Tarver said it's all a lot of gory or something like that, and he's getting gall darned tired or something like it. This is literally the quote from the paper. Looking for the Black Flash. And if he don't get some sleep nights, he'll be thinking he's the Black Flash. That was a clip from the newspaper. But I love that Ma Hunt said, well, if a man grabbed me, I'd hold on. Oh, I love it. Okay. So tons of stories. It's actually starting to make radio news across the country. And this tiny little fishing village of Provincetown or Provincetown, I'm actually not sure, was everywhere. And kind of like Emily was talking about how her cryptid might have been sort of conflated and made bigger by the release of these other science fiction things. This was just 1 year after Orson Welles' had done his War of the Worlds broadcast, which really scared people and like got everyone kind of in a panic. So they kind of thought, well, is this just like one of the explanations? Is this just sort of like a hysteria among the people? You know.
Wait, say again what year this was?
This is 1939 now.
Wow.
Okay, so but the first sighting was 1938, but continued to have sightings reported, although the only newspaper articles were published in 1939 about it, until 1945, when there is the final sighting of the Black Flash. And this was a family. They were the Jaynard family, and this happened on Standish Street. If anyone wants to write down Standish Street, we can visit along with Farm Street when we go to Massachusetts. But in December of 1945, there was a group of kids, all siblings from the Jaynard family, and they were outside playing in the evening or maybe walking home, and it was kind of foggy, and they saw this black, humanoid, super tall figure that they realized was following them and creeping towards them. So they got closer to their house, and they felt like the creature was getting closer, and they ran inside and they locked the door, and they were alone. Their parents weren't home. But after they locked the door, like a few seconds later, they could hear it outside. It was like trying the doorknob, and it was like trying at the windows. And so the kids like kind of went and hid, but one of the children, there's reports that it was the oldest boy and there's reports that it was the oldest girl, but they put a pot of boiling water on the stove, went up to the second story window, opened the window, and dumped the entire pot directly onto the creature's head, which was right below him. And that is when the Black Flash did not do its maniacal laugh. Ooh. Instead, it gasped like it was surprised.
Uh-huh.
Now, remember, it hadn't reacted to bullets. It just would laugh and fly and like, not fly away, but like bound away. And this time it just gasped and like stood there frozen and then darted away. And then it was never seen again.
Wow.
Although there actually were reports that in the 70s it was seen, but I couldn't find anything about it. It was just sort of like, there are reports that it was seen again in the 70s, but never did I find anything like real.
Right.
Wow.
So, some theories.
Yes.
First, it was a baby owl. Just kidding.
Perfect.
So the most widely held explanation is that it was a prank done by a group of local teenagers that just decided to do it. Like first they tried in October of 1938 and scared the kids. Then they decided to do it again in 1939. And there were even like 3 suspects that were suspected by the chief of police, and his name was Anthony Tarvers.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, I know who it is. They were like troublemakers. But one of them was a hurdler on the track team. So they were like, he has the athleticism to do the leaping. However, none of them were 8 feet tall.
8 feet, yeah.
So I'm just wondering, did they have some kind of costume where it like extended off the top of his head maybe and made him taller?
But didn't you say that also it jumped over like an 8-foot fence?
An 8-foot fence and a 10-foot fence, according to the farmer Charles Farley. Wow. Said it jumped over his 10-foot fence.
Also, like, how could you replicate glowing blue eyes in 1939?
And breathing blue fire.
Know. And breathing blue fire. And the noises. I mean, maybe the noises aren't that hard. Like maniacal laugh. Go ahead.
I can do it.
See, perfect. Now, Emily, please replicate a buzzing sound that an insect might make. Ooh, I love it. That was creepier than a buzz. So this sheriff, his theory was that the silver ears and the mask was actually a flour sifter. Do you guys remember those old flour sifters that almost looked like wire colanders that had like little things that you would pull a little
like
thing
a
and
chunk,
they would
a chunk, a
go
chunk,
across?
Yeah.
Yeah, like chunk a chunk to sift the flour. So he thought that they had made a mask out of an old flour sifter and that the ears were actually the handles of an old flour sifter. And, you know, that the boys just got an idea and stuck with it. Second theory, which I already kind of touched on, was that it was mass hysteria from war anxiety, the world's thing that happened with the Orson Welles broadcast, plus things were actually starting that would lead up to World War II.
Right.
And German boats were actually patrolling. I didn't know this, right outside of Provincetown's harbor in Massachusetts.
Oh,
so
you know what it was? It was a couple of Nazis.
It might have been.
Sorry.
Theory 3, Spring Hill Jack. And here is where, I mean, this just gets really weird. Emily, do you know anything about Spring Hill Jack?
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
I invite you to find a podcast. I think Georgia covers it, honestly, on My Favorite Murder.
I think
so
Georgia
hear
or
it eventually.
Karen covers it, yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of like this crazy story, but you can find like a good podcast on it. But it was basically like a lot of people think it was just a guy that attached springs to his shoes so he could just jump. But he was this crazy thing that would leap out, had glowing blue eyes, breathe blue and white flames. So many of the same qualities.
Mm-hmm. Nettie, didn't Spring Hill Jack, didn't he like bother women though?
Yes, particularly women.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've even thought about Spring Hill Jack, but oh my gosh.
But here's the other thing. It's like, would the people, I mean, maybe they would know, but would the legend of Spring Hill Jack have been in? I mean, yes. The answer is yes. This was like 1940s. So stories could have been written.
Yeah, it could have been, but it all would have been like by newspaper. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of like how
little novels, like little novellas.
Yeah. Or like zines or whatever they called them at the time.
Yeah. Like little.
So I don't know if like a little town in Massachusetts would have like heard about that, but it's not impossible, of course.
What's crazy to me is the getting shot at, because it wasn't just the farmer that shot at him. Multiple people shot at this thing, and it always laughed and bounded away.
And then it crushed that man's fist.
Yes, a teenage boy would not be able to do that. No. Or like slap a grown man to the ground. Yeah. And like he's a huge teenage boy.
And like and as he's slapping the grown man, lift that man off of the ground.
Yeah, like slapped him so his feet came off the ground. So it was paranormal author John Keel, and he wrote a book called Strange Creatures from Time and Space. He's the one that claimed there was a second wave of black flash sightings in Provincetown in the early 70s. But I was not able to find any corroboration on that. And so it's either that or it's actually a cryptid. It's maybe a Mothman related thing. Like I immediately thought Mothman when I first heard the description.
Right.
And Spring Hill Jack. Like those were the two things that came in to my mind.
Yeah.
That is it.
Wow. I do always question those like tellings of, like a man that encounters the thing and they're like, it crushed my fist, or like it slapped me so hard I flew off the ground. Like, yeah, I do think that they're probably often exaggerating the encounter to make themselves not seem wimpy. Like maybe the guy whose fist was crushed, like swung at something and hit a wall and then was too embarrassed to say, like
he was like,
I don't know,
that damn flash got me.
I'm going to send you guys the photo that I found of Spring Hill Jack.
Okay.
And what you're going to see, though, is something that could be the Black Flash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Please send it.
This is not the best cropped photo, Emily. So if you decide you want to use in the socials, I'll send you a better one.
Okay.
Well, another thing is like 8 feet tall, too. Like if you attach something on top of yourself, even if you're like an athletic person, like seeing out the middle is going to be kind of important, right?
Yes, I would say.
And the athleticism does not lend itself to blindness, it would seem.
I'm trying to find. So if you...
Is anything I just said make sense at all?
No, it makes sense. I just was thinking about that costume Oliver had where it was like a...
Costume?
It was like a head extender that he had that like went up. It was like it sat on his head and then it had the big tall thing with a head up above him. And it just like strapped onto his head, and then he had like a mesh thing that he looked through on the torso part.
Did they have mesh in the 1930s?
Well, they did. They had nylon stockings.
They did.
I mean, who knows?
I'm going to send you another photo of an artist's rendering of the Black Flash, but I find this one weird and not actually accurate.
Okay.
This one was on Preston Posits. not
Spring
accurate
Hill
to the
Jack.
I
description.
think it's probably posits, because if you posit something, doesn't that mean like you?
I hypose something.
Emily, please look at the Spring Hill Jack photo because he is fabulous.
He really is. Wow.
Like that, you know that
wow.
song that's like what da 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 da.
No.
Like, feeling effing fabulous.
My goodness,
No?
I don't know it, but tell me more.
I will tell you more later because I'm going to stop singing into the mic.
No way, Jose. You keep singing. You keep singing all day long. We all love it. Oh, I lost you girls. There. Okay, found you. Okay. Well, anyways, that's the Black Flash.
Nitty,
love
that was
those.
amazing.
Are the cryptids. I know. Isn't that a fun story?
It was so fun.
I loved that one when I was like, oh, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
This was super fun to research. And just like the comparisons to Spring Hill Jack, like this has got to be, I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Which
it
makes
has to
me
be.
think that, because when I heard about Spring Hill Jack, I was like, some guy dressed up as this. Like this was a man who came up with a contraption. But then when I heard the second one, I was like, it might be the vampire Lafayette.
Yeah.
Maybe he occasionally decides to jump around to scare people. And he was only seen at night because the only sighting that I couldn't confirm, well, actually, that's not true because I said tons of sightings came in.
Right.
But it sounds like most of them are at night, but I wasn't sure about the kids in the dunes, if they were like at night or like at dusk. But anyway, well,
That was
that's
super
it.
fun.
Who's taking us out?
I think I am.
You can do this, Haley. I believe in you.
Thank you for listening. Again, we are the Spooky Darlings. And if you like what you heard, please just leave us a quick 5-star review. And if you want to let us know, have you seen Spring Hill Jack? You know, email us at thespookydarlings@gmail.com.
Or the Black Flash.
Or the Black Flash. And please find us on social media. We are the Spooky Darlings Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And you can also find us on YouTube. And just thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye.